Well, theoretically it is possible, but very unlikely, okay? The main reason is when patients are undergoing IVF, we usually recommend not to have sex during the process. And not because there could be, it is a problem, because obviously in natural circumstances, if you don't have sex, you cannot get pregnant. So sex itself is not an issue. But when the ovaries are stimulated and we have done the collection, they tend to be tender, there is a risk of bleeding, and then we recommend avoiding sex until the day of the pregnancy test. But however, have been described natural pregnancies, for example, in cases of cryotransfers in which the natural cycle has been used. That means that we just check how the follicle grows, and on the day the follicle reaches 17, 18 millimeters, we trigger the ovulation, and then 5 days after that ovulation, we schedule the frozen embryo transfer, and the patients have had sex in this cycle because it is not contraindicated, because there is no hyperstimulation of the ovaries. And then, despite transferring one embryo, there has been twins in the scan. So that means that very likely the patients have got pregnant at the same time by the embryo that we have transferred and by the egg that the woman has ovulated. Okay, because then later has been confirmed that they were non-identical twins, because you know that sometimes we transfer an embryo and the embryo can split in two, but in these cases they were babies with a different gender, so a boy and a girl, so that means that they come from different eggs, and if you have only transferred one embryo, that's not possible. Now, because of the short cycles that we use in IVF, it is not so common what sometimes happened when we were working with long protocols. Long protocols, you know that you start a down regulation before even you have your period, and in some cases the patients didn't have their period, and that was because they got pregnant. It wasn't risky, it didn't had any problem with the pregnancy, but nowadays most of the cycles are started on day one of your period. That means that if for any reason you get pregnant in the previous cycle of the IVF, you are not going to have a period, you are not going to start. So very unlikely, not impossible, and only in some specific cases like transfers within natural cycles.